There we go. All right, we are live on YouTube. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our Shabbat service. And we are going to begin our Shabbat worship with Shiru Ladonai. Adam's on the slide deck tonight, so thank you, Adam. There we go. All right. Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Lashu Miyom Leyom Yeshuato, Shiru Ladonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Lashu Miyom Leyom Yeshuato, Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Lashu Miyom Leyom Yeshuato, Shiru Ladonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Lashu Miyom Leyom Yeshuato. We continue with the lighting of Shabbat candles. Do we have a volunteer to light the Shabbat candles tonight using candles in your home or the ones that will magically appear on the next slide? Any takers?
I can do it if no one else is.
Thank you, Wendy.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you, Wendy. On this Shabbat Hagadol, the Shabbat before Pesach, before Passover, I've taken some inspiration from a variety of Haggadot to sprinkle throughout our service, beginning right here. The beginning of all journeys is separation. You've got to leave somewhere to go somewhere else. It is also the first step towards freedom. You ignore the voice of Pharaoh inside that mocks you, saying, "Who are you to begin such a journey? You just get up and walk out." This is the first meaning of the word kadesh, to transcend the mundane world. Then comes the second meaning. Once you've set yourself free from your material worries, you can return and sanctify them. That is when true spiritual freedom begins, when you introduce a higher purpose into all those things you do. Continue with the Chadodi. likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Ishmianu el hamichad Adonai echad ushmo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'litchila lecha doti likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha doti likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha ki mekor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha doti likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha doti likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Toreri hitoreri kiva oreh umi ori uri uri shir daberi kvod Adonai alayich nikla. Lecha doti likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha doti likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Bo'ir shalom ateret bala גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה lecha doti likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha doti likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Thank you to Mike for the new recording. Very much appreciated. Forgetfulness leads to exile, while memory is the secret of redemption, says the Baal Shem Tov. Therefore, we celebrate Passover by teaching ourselves to become inventive storytellers and empathetic listeners. Yitkadav yitkadav shemei Rabba Be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uvyom echon Uchayedecho Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Uvizman Kariv V'imeru Amen Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'alam Le'am Amaya Yitbarach Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha brichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, Da'amiran bi'alma v'imeru. Amen. We continue with our call to worship, the Baruch Hu. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day. Night take turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day. Day turns to night. Kolel over Laila, kolel mipnei choshech, kolel mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei yom. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day. Day turns to night. Kolel over Laila, kolel mipnei choshech, kolel mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei yom. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day. Day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day. Day turns to night. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Would someone like to share this reading?
I'll be happy to.
Thanks, Sue.
Torah is a closed book until it is read with an open heart. House of Israel, great and small, open your hearts to the words of Torah. Torah is demanding, yet sweeter than honey, more precious than gold. House of Israel, young and old, open yourselves, heart and soul, to its treasures. Torah sanctifies life. It teaches us how to be human and holy. House of Israel, near and far, cherish the eternal sign of God's love. Torah is given each day. Each day we can choose to reject or accept it. House of Israel, now as at Sinai, choose to accept and be blessed by its teachings.
Thank you, Sue. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlachtecha v'aterech Ushochbecha ukumecha Ukshartam leot ayadecha V'hayu letotafot bein einecha Uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvish'arecha Lema'an tizkiru v'asitem ekol mitzvotai V'tem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiyot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem emet. God, have you forgiven me? Have you forgotten me? I have forgotten how to breathe. The air here is tight around me. Each day presses in and tomorrow feels impossibly far away. I long to feel your wide, wide love, to feel hard earth beneath my cracked feet, shade in my bent back, cool mist in my sun-scorched skin. I long to hear sweet words, for respite from the sting that forces me into this pit and keeps me here. Day after day, God. Though my voice is barely a broken whisper, I am calling out and remembering you. Please remember me. Remember my family and our ancestors. Bring us home to you. Turn us back toward your embrace and fold us in. We have been lost so long, and now we are ready. Find us, remember us. At night, we sing a secret song of breath and coating shadows. By day, we squint our eyes and hope that when we open them, you will be here. A hand on our brow, a breath of wind at our backs. We sing to you. Please hear our song. Please come and bring us home. Adonai et Yaakov, u'gyalo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Would somebody like to share this next prayer?
I would.
Thank you, Lacey.
Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Thank you, Lacey. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat l'dorotam, berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat l'dorotam, berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat l'dorotam, berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat l'dorotam, berit olam. B'sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat l'dorotam, berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat l'dorotam, berit olam. U'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinavash, Shabbat vayinavash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat l'dorotam, berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat l'dorotam, berit olam. B'chol dor v'dor chayav adam lir'ot et atzmo ki'ilu hu yatsa mimitzrayim. In every generation, each of us is obligated to see ourselves as though we personally left Egypt. We continue with the tefillah. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yadi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Geulah Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'marid hagashem. Mechakel chaim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir hasurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal givurot, Umidam melach, melach memit u'mechayeh, u'matzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yihalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Could you advance? I think I forgot to take that out. Oh. There we go. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Forgive me, I'm going to start over. I'm looking forward to the time when we can do this live. Ritzvei Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ahava tikabel. Utifiti liratzon, tamid avodat Yisrael. Yisrael Amecha. Would somebody like to share the prayer for peace?
I can do this one, Lee.
Thank you, Sandra. I think you muted yourself.
Go.
There we go.
Okay. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace. And give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavarech et amo, Yisrael bashalom. Amen. Thank you.
Take a few moments for silent reflection and prayer, accompanied, of course, by Mike. Oh, I'm sure I took those out. I know I took those out. I don't know what happened. Keep going. All right. Do we have any birthdays this week? No. Any birthdays this week? Well, we do have something to celebrate. Is Sergio there? Sue?
No, he's not.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Well, we have an announcement. Last Saturday night, I was privileged to officiate at the wedding of Sue and Sergio. So Sue and Sergio got married. So Mazal Tov
Thank you.
to Sue.
Thank you. It was a lovely ceremony. Lisa was spectacular as always.
So we are delighted and we wish them many, many happy years together. And Mazal Tov. And when Sergio's there with you, we'll offer a blessing for the two of you.
Thank you.
Do we have any anniversaries this week? I don't think so. All right. So we shall go on. Our thoughts turn to those who are in need of healing of mind, body, and spirit, those in our community and those close to our community. Marcy Berman, Marty Boyle, Carol Castro, Isaac Cohen, Sarah Cohen, Susan Cooley, Kay Cosby, Bruce Dalby, Carolyn Dowlin, Stuart Dowlin, John Elmore, Steve Feynman, Bernice Fischel, Justin Folk, Barbara Frisbee, Matt Kiefer, Alessandro Coditial, Jenna Lesser, Linda McGee, Lee Marsh, Olivia Martinez, Mike McNerney, Tom Moore, Marge Muldoon, Charles Patrick, Patty Radel, John Robertson, Diana Samuels, Bruce Schlossberg, Shimshon Ben Avraham Visara, April Singer, April Thomason, Cliff Van Cora, Amelia Vasquez, Susan Weber, Marcia Gorin Wesser, Kay Williams. Are there others for whom we are praying this Shabbat?
Yes, I'm praying for April Thomason. Oops, I'm sorry. Is she still on there? Well, a special prayer since she had open heart surgery.
Oh, goodness.
Sandra Waddich, Kim Smith, Peggy Spring, Kathy Lowe, and Jean Hackett.
Thank you.
Bert Arnold,
Thank you.
Jacob Blake, David Fishelman, Shirley Power.
Thank you.
Okay.
Barbara Strootman.
Thank you. For those whom we've named and for those we name in our hearts, we say, Misha Berach Avotenu ve'imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, Hu yivarech et hacholim shalanu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yimalei rachamim aleihem, lahachalimam ularapotam ulahachazikam, v'yishlach lahem mehera refuah shlema min hashamayim. Refuat hanefesh, refuat haguf, hashtaba hagala, v'zman kariv, v'nomar amen. And we continue with our Misha Berach that we sing together. Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha La'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Not sure what happened there. As you can see from my background, I'm getting my headspace into the Pesach mood and my virtual space into the Pesach mood. On December 20th, 2013, a young woman named Justine Sacco was waiting in Heathrow Airport before boarding a flight to Africa. To while away the time, she sent a tweet in questionable taste about the hazards of catching AIDS. There was no immediate response, and she boarded the plane unaware of the storm that was about to break. 11 hours later, upon landing, she deboarded only to discover that her name was now known by millions on every continent throughout the world. Her tweet and responses to it had gone viral. Over the next 11 days, she would be Googled by more than a million times. She was branded a racist and dismissed from her job. Overnight, she had become a pariah. Social media, that double-edged sword. It has brought about a return to the ancient phenomenon of public shaming. 2 books, John Ronson's So You've Been Publicly Shamed, and Jennifer Jacquet's Is Shame Necessary, both written in 2015, discussed it at length. Jacquet believes it is a good thing. It can be a way of getting public corporations to behave more responsibly, for example. Ronson highlights the dangers. It is one thing to be shamed by the community of which you are a part, quite another by a global network of strangers who know nothing about you or the context in which your act took place. That is more like a lynch mob than the pursuit of justice. Either way, this helps us begin to understand the complex and bewildering phenomenon of tzara'at, the condition dealt with at length in last week's parashah and continued in this one. The 2 portions, Tazria and Mitzorah, are often read together as a double portion. However, because this is a leap year, they each get their own week. Lucky us. Tzara'at has been variously translated as leprosy, skin disease, and scaly infection. Yet there are problems in identifying it with any specific known disease. First, its symptoms do not correspond to any disease currently known to us. Second, the tzara'at described in the Torah affects not only human beings, but also the walls of houses, furniture, and clothing. There is no known medical condition that behaves like this. Besides, the Torah is a book about holiness and ethical conduct. It's not a medical textbook. Even if it were, Rabbi David Zvi Hoffman points out in his commentary, the procedures to be carried out do not correspond to those that would be done if tzara'at were a contagious disease. Finally, tzara'at is, as described in the Torah, is a condition that brings not sickness, but rather impurity, tumah. Health and purity are different things altogether. So what is this mysterious tzara'at? The rabbis decoded the mystery by looking to instances in the Torah in which someone was actually afflicted by tzara'at. It happened to Miriam when she spoke out against her brother Moses. She had to be separated from the community, and her illness led to the brief and poignant prayer uttered by Moses, El na refana la, please God, please heal her. Another example referred to was Moses himself, who at the burning bush said to God that the Israelites would not believe in him. His hand briefly turned as leprous as snow. Reish Lakish, one of the Talmudic sages, said that Mitzorah was a metaphor for Motzi Shem Ra, or one who brings about another's bad name. So the rabbis came to regard Tzara'at as punishment for Lashon Hara, evil speech, gossip, speaking negatively about or denigrating another person. This helped them explain why the symptoms of Tzara'at, mold and discoloration, could affect walls, furniture, clothes, and human skin. These were a sequence of warnings or punishments. First, God warned the offender by sending a sign of decay to the walls of his house. If the offender repented, the condition stopped right there. If he failed to do so, his furniture was affected, then his clothes, and finally, his skin. How are we to understand this? Why was evil speech regarded as so serious an offense that it took these strange phenomena to point to its existence? And why was it punished this way and not another? Let's go back to that double-edged sword I mentioned earlier to try and understand a little better. Last week, in my Hartman Institute Rabbinic Reading Group, we studied an article by Micah Goodman entitled, "Our Technology Sickness and How to Heal It." Rabbanit Sarah Walkenfeld, Chief Learning Officer of Sefaria.org, moderated the discussion. The basic premise of the article is that our society has become so fractured that regardless of who we may be friendly with in person, when it comes to our social media presence, we tend to read, like, and comment only on those posts that agree with our own point of view, whether that's politically, religiously, or otherwise. Very quickly, the social media bots pick up on those preferences and begin to filter out other points of view. Soon, even if in real life we are friends with people who have differing opinions, we stop seeing their posts. We stop seeing articles from opposing points of view, and so on. Our discussion, if I'm being perfectly honest, was kind of depressing. My Chavruta, my small study group, shared our experiences of trying to maintain online relationships with friends who held opposing political loyalties, only to be attacked for trying to have a respectful exchange of ideas. Many of us have found ourselves publicly attacked and disrespected online, myself included, or unfriended because we expressed a particular point of view. And as the pandemic has dragged on, people have needed less and less of a reason to become nastier and nastier in what they choose to post on social media, not only on their friends' pages, but on strangers' pages as well. So what can we do about it? How do we turn the tide? As always, our Torah provides us with some guidance, and we can learn from the purification ritual. First, the Mitzorah, the afflicted person, was to be isolated from the community until the infection cleared. The rabbis knew that gossip and hurtful speech was far more contagious and potentially more destructive than any physical disease. And the only way to stop it was to cut it off at its source. Isolating the offender was the way to restore honor and dignity to the community. Once the tzara'at has healed, the mitzorah must bring 2 live, pure birds as offerings. One is slaughtered over fresh water and the other is set free. Rashi, the most well-known of the medieval commentators, explains that the reason the Mitzorah, that the reason the two birds are used is because birds continually chatter and chirp, a metaphor for idle, evil talk or gossip. Separating the birds stops the idle, evil talk. Finally, the Mitzorah washes their clothes, shaves all the hair off their body, immerses in the mikvah, and emerges purified. The Rizner Rebbe, a 19th century Hasidic rabbi from Ukraine, was always looking beyond the details for the meaning behind them. He said, the Torah bids us, when we become unclean, to immerse ourselves in water and thereby be purified. But if the water is frozen, can we immerse ourselves in it? A frozen heart cannot purify an unclean life. In other words, it isn't enough that we do mitzvot because we're told we have to. We aren't off the hook if we simply follow the instructions. Our intention and dedication of the heart is essential. What does this mean for us today? Here's how I would apply it, specifically to our examples of social media. Using the models of isolation, separation of idle chit-chatterers, and being intentional. Excuse me. If you are feeling overwhelmed by the negativity of social media, take a social media break. If you are feeling attacked, or if you are feeling like you are being lured into attacking others, admit it, name it, stop it, and mute those people for 30 days or longer if necessary. There's a very neat little thing you can do. There's a thing you can click where it says mute this person for 30 days. Be intentional about who you choose to connect with on social media and what you choose to put out there. If you put out negative energy, that is what you will attract. If you put out positive energy, you will attract the same. If you need to, isolate yourself from the social media community until you feel that you're ready to rejoin it. And if you never feel ready, that's okay too. Tzara'at no longer exists in the same way as it did in the Torah, thankfully. Yet the moral of the Mitzorah remains. Malicious gossip, Lashon Hara, undermines relationships, erodes the social bond, and damages trust. But just as words can tear down a society, words can also heal relationships, build community, form a social structure, create a holy congregation. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will. Shabbat Shalom. David.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Very thoughtful, detailed, and well organized. And I have to say that, yeah, the ability to agree to disagree in the spirit of mutual respect is not something the human race has been reliably good at. We still need some work there from several angles. Okay, I would like to thank everybody for tuning in this evening. Looks like we've got 17 computers, 18 now. Okay. 18 computers hooked in. So we're looking good. Thanks to Adam for the slides, Mike for the music. We're moving along. We've got some birthdays probably for next week. Susan, so congratulations, Mazel Tov, and however you say it in 2 or 3 other languages, I don't know yet, but if you're good with that. Okay, coming up, the biggie coming up is we have a multi-access Seder, Saturday, April 16, 6 p.m. Special thanks to Adam and his wife for donating their office for the actual physical Seder. At this point, we're open for online registrations, but please do register if you're doing online, because we're apparently doing a special link to avoid, Zoom bombing and stuff like that. So yeah, only takes a couple of minutes. Go ahead, you'll get the link, and we'll have a nice quiet Seder. Okay. Women of Reform Judaism have as their next presentation on May 11th at, I think it works out to 6:30 p.m. Central Time. This is part of their performance series. And folks, again, if you have got any friends who are non-members, but who might be flirting with the idea, or possibly nudged to the idea, bring them the Seder, for the online. You can have them over for dinner anyway, and just give them a chance to see who we are. Okay, Lisa, back to you.
All right. Just a note that there will not be a Shabbat service next week because it is the first night of Passover and many of us will be at Seders. So we will not be having a Shabbat service next Friday night. All right. We're going to continue with the concluding portion of our service, beginning with Aleinu L'Shabeach. Aleinu L'Shabeach La'adon HaKol, La'tet Gedula Liotzer Breshit, Shehu Noteh Shamayim V'yosei Haaretz, Umoshav Yikaro Bashamayim Mima'al, Ushkinatu Zo B'govhei Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Ein Od. Va'anachnu kore'im u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. We just did that. V'ne'emar V'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for blessing. We remember in the period of Shloshim, the 30 days following their death, Jonathan Erlin, cousin of David Shane, Dan McShane, friend of Wendy and Stan Drezick, Joan Myers, friend of Sandra Singer and Barb Stern. We remember Donald Kipp, father of Ron Kipp, whose anniversary of death is remembered this week. We remember 10 people who perished in the Holocaust: Susie Spetter, Elsa Speyer, Flora Regina Speyer, Josephine Smits, Elizabeth Speyer, Betsy Elmira Sanders, Hildegard Seelig, Jancia Sluis, Betja Soap, Martha Speyer. We also want to let you know, although you may have also received the bereavement notice of the passing of Sylvia Cohen, grandmother of Isaac Cohen, former mother-in-law of April Singer. The funeral service and burial will take place on Sunday, this coming Sunday at 2:30 at the Agudas Achim Cemetery on Austin Highway, and they'll be announcing Shiva observance at that time. Is there anybody else who is observing a yurt site or has a name to mention for Kaddish?
Jean McPhee.
Thank you. Zichronam livracha, their memories are an abiding blessing as we turn to the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba, ve'alma divrach hirutei, ve'amlich machotei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon, u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv ve'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'alam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemedekudsha brichu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'ama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. May the one who makes peace on high help us to make peace on earth and send peace to all who are bereaved, as we say. Amen. We are going to conclude with the song Unbreakable Soul by Sam Glazer, a wonderful song to lead us into Passover. And it's an echo song. So I'll sing a line, you sing the line, and then we join together for the chorus. Work all day, dream all night, turn the darkness into light, at the end of our rope. Keep the faith, don't lose hope. Chorus, you can never break an unbreakable All right. Who would like to lead us in Kiddush tonight?
I'll do it if no one
I'll
else
be-
is doing it. Oh, if someone else.
I'll be happy to do it. I love Sam Glazer.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
Well, Wendy, Wendy Maury, who's? I think Wendy beat you to it, Maury.
Oh, Maury can do
Okay,
it.
she's got it.
Maury, you can do it. That's fine.
All right, Wendy, here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kadsho b'ahava uvratzon himchilanu zikaron l'maseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki vanu vacharta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha B'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lachem min haaretz b'te'avon.
Thank you.
Welcome.